Hello again, it's In the Know, brought to you by The Racing Post. My name is Ross Brierley, and we are on the eve of the final day of the jump season. What a winter it's been, and we've got a heat wave ahead of next week to really bring in the flat as well. But it is, of course, Skelton versus Mullins once again, and Dan Skelton just clinging grimly on to that lead in the trainers' title. But with nearly 300 grand on the table at Sandown on Saturday, it might well be pretty difficult for him to hold on for more than a couple of races, really. But hey, look, that's exciting. We'll talk about that in a second. But what's more exciting is actually getting decent fields and hopefully some decent prices as well. Will we be siding with the Mullins and Skelton horses, or are they making the market look a little bit skew-if? Well, stay tuned for the next hour to find out. We are live and interactive as well, so make sure you like, subscribe, and also get involved on the chat. But yeah, some big names, not just the trainers, of course. We'll also be celebrating Sean Bowen, who's had a fantastic year as well, and is staking a claim to be the preeminent jumps jockey over the next few generations. And of course, like I said, we've seen some good flat horses today at Sandown. The sun's out. Look, they've just got a lot of exciting things going on. John Bond, Gaelic Warrior, old friends, perhaps some new friends. Who knows? Let us know what you like tomorrow. Put it in the chat. Put your nap in the chat in capital letters if you fancy anything, and I'll try and read out as many as possible. Let's introduce the panel for tonight then. To my left, a man very much prepared for the heatwave in his lovely dark green jumper. I feel like at the end of the show, Graeme Rodway, you should take off that jumper, throw it to the ground to celebrate the transition between the jumps and the flat. But right now, you're still in winter mode.
Yeah, good point, actually. I actually came in wearing my hoodie, and I thought, well, can you wear a hoodie on a show like this? You probably can. Hug a hoodie, they used to say, didn't they?
Robbie Wilders would absolutely wear a hoodie on this show.
Yeah, but I thought probably safer to go in my green jumper, which is a trusty green jumper, and it brought me luck in the past.
Good. Well, Skelton versus Mullins, or as much as it can be. Mullins has sent over, probably, to be fair, only about 2% of his stable, but it feels like a lot more, doesn't it?
It does feel like a lot more. He's absolutely carpet bombing this last day at Sandown, isn't he? How many has he got in the big one? Double figures, is it? Something like that?
I mean, again, still just about enough to put the combination TriCast on, I think.
Yeah, probably. But no, I actually think that it might be a bit more of a tussle than than the bookmakers think. Anyway, I think the bookmakers have got like Mullins as, ridiculous, haven't they? Very short, 1-8, something like that. I actually think it might be a lot closer than many think, because I think that Dan Skelton's kept a few back for the last day, should it come to it.
Yeah.
And I think that he could have a few winners. The scary thought is that he could win the big one and still lose the title. If Mullins were to train the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th home, and the rest of the winners on the card, which would not surprise anyone right now, would it? Because Mullins just wins everything. Mullins doesn't miss.
He doesn't miss. Look, and this is the thing. I mean, look, he's also going to be asking for a few favours. I mean, does Dan Skelton winning the title depend on him winning races, or getting favours from other trainers beating Mullins? Because Pick Doherty, for example, could do him a favour.
Yeah, it could do, yeah. If it were to turn over Gaelic Warrior, it could be a cracking race. 2 Grade 1 horses.
Lucky place, the main challenge, if that beats Kit's Ball, then suddenly, like I said, it might get to the big one. Whether Skelton's won the races or not up to that point, it might just be down to Mullins not winning them.
Yeah, well, it will be. Yeah, it will be, won't it? Because something's going to have to happen, is it? It might even need divine intervention.
I've quite enjoyed it though. I know a few people be different, opinions on whether it's worth all the chat that we've had over the past few weeks. But I've quite enjoyed it. I feel like this is gonna, whatever Dan Skelton losing this trainer championship in this way, I think will stand him in much better stead than winning it without Mullins, because even if he doesn't win it, he must have learned. He just learned so much from going through adversity and going up against a man as good as Mullins.
Although I suppose you could argue the same happened to him last season, couldn't you?
But he's much closer.
He is much closer this time, and maybe that's because he got such a good start, didn't he? He got an absolute flyer through the summer and into the early winter. He was miles ahead. Looked like some firms had even given up betting on it, hadn't they? They'd closed the market, thinking that Skelton was so sure to win. I mean, it's interesting, but as a punter, I'm always more interested in the racing and betting on them, really, rather than who wins the title. And
although partly it does mean that, like, there was a race, for example, at Perth the other day where the Mullins horse was odds on, and the Crawford horse won at much bigger odds than it would have been if it hadn't been a Mullins horse in. So if you find the races where you actually don't fancy the horses trained by either of those two men, you can do all right.
Yeah, and we have been treated this year as well to, like you say, races that would have been small fields have actually been really competitive, haven't there? There was a race at Perth the other day where the last 10 years, I think the most that had run had been 6, and it had been 4, 5, 6 every year for 10 years.
Was that the novice? And
then there was a full team runners in the novice listed hurdle. So, all right, 3 or 4 of them were Mullins and a couple were Skelton, but nevertheless, it was great to see really competitive racing. I suppose that is one upside to it. We wouldn't have anywhere near the number of runners that we've got at Sandown tomorrow had the title race not been so interesting, would we, Ross?
Absolutely not. Tom Segal is sat at home, surely with a mouthful of opinions and hopefully a head full of winners. How are you doing, Tom?
Very good, thanks, Ross. Got my doggy here with me, and really looking forward to another good day. Yeah, I think the funny thing is, if State Man hadn't fallen over, as G Rod said, we'd had half the runners, wouldn't we? It would have been all over and done, and without the title would have been done, and we'd have probably one Millie Mullins runner in the Bet365 Gold Cup, and all those trainers that had targeted their horses at the race would have got a run. So, in a way, that's sort of good in the fact that, as G Rod pointed out, we've had Perth and we've had Bumpton and we've had places like that with good fields. But I do feel sorry for the little guy, because what's happened now is they can't get a run, can they? They're all, if you have got a run in the Bet365 Gold Cup, you're £12 out of the handicap to start with, and I don't know. It's good and it's bad, isn't it? It's good that we get to see Grange Clare West and proper horses. It's bad that we get 10 Willie Mullins runners in the race.
There's a few things. One, I think your meetings over the next month, I don't know, like the Swinton Hurdle meeting, for example, or other meetings where there's a lot of horses who might have been aimed at races there. Even Punchestown. Is this going to affect Mullins' Punchestown chances? Are suddenly maybe the Elliots and the Cromwells and the Bromheads of this world are thinking, you crack on, Willie, you send as many over there as you like, and we'll mop up the races next week?
No, because he'll still win them, won't he? Because he'll win it. But is there a race for Gaelic Warrior out there? There might not be. They've got Gallop. There's not a 2.5 mile chase, is there? They've got Gallopan and they've got what's it called? JP McManus's horse that won the Ryanair going in the 2 mile race.
Fact file.
You know what I mean? So there's not a race for him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they've kept Lossie Mouth obviously back for there. They've got State Man back for there. Kitzbühel wasn't going to run that. These horses probably didn't have a race. Yeah. Because Kameen's not going to beat JP's horse, is he? So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, look, I mean, I guess I'm trying desperately not desperately, but again, we had 4 runners in every race tomorrow. We'd say, where are all the horses? We have 2 trainers sending, handfuls of their best horses to Sandown tomorrow, and suddenly, there's only 2 trainers who win. I mean, it just gets to the point where you think, come on, racing fans, what do you want?
The one thing that sticks in my mind about this Bet365 Gold Cup, for example, though, is it fair, if you know what I mean? Like,
is life fair? Is life fair?
Well, it's not, is it? But and I know that it's within the rules, isn't it? With Mullins running Grange Clare West or whatever. But you can't tell me that he hasn't looked at that there and gone, or Skelton's got a pretty good chance there down there at the bottom of the weight. So if we run Grange Clare West here, he's going to keep him, £15 out the weight, keeping almost half the field out the weights. A lot of the ones that are in the weights are Mullins runners. There's an element of him being able to manipulate the race. I'm not saying that's what he's done, but you can't tell me that it didn't go through his mind, Ross.
No, of course it went through his mind, but but you play the, You play the hand that you're dealt. You play the way things are laid out. So look, I don't know.
It's not against the rules. It's not against the rules. But is it sporting?
I mean, it's 2025, isn't it? I mean, what is sporting these days? It's just nothing feels sporting anymore. It's just about
It's different if he had one runner, right? So if Mullins had one runner in that race, and it was Grange Clare West, it was keeping everything out the race. Yeah. You'd go, oh well, fair enough. He's running one, but he's got 10.
Yeah, maybe. But then if Grange Clare West goes and wins, what a weight carry before we. So look, it's just this is the world we live in, isn't it? What was I going to say? A few other things, Tom. First, obviously the end of the jump season tomorrow, and then all the grade ones next week in Ireland. But the flat came back today. Your horse to follow for the season looked like he was coming with a very strong run before being snatched up in the final furlong. So we've got the draw bites. We've got being out of the weights. Didn't stop Tracy Waggett, did it? At Newcastle last week. What is, for you as a punter, what's more annoying? Wrong side of a draw bias, snatched up when you look like you're going to win, bad mistake when with every chance over jumps, or just never being put in the race, thinking, why are you holding him up off a slow pace and never being put in the race? One of those, that's the 4 choices. What's more annoying?
Last one by a mile. The other ones, you got to make an informed decision on the track biases. You can if it goes against you, it goes against you. Making a mistake, that's part of a jumps race. What was the other one? The second one? Can't remember, but whatever it was.
Getting snatched up in the, like your runner today.
Yeah, that just happens, doesn't it? Sometimes it works for you. If you watch every flat race going back, I think you could make excuses for any horse, lots of horses in every race. So it is annoying, but the worst one is when for today, for me, much more annoying was the way Al Cantor was ridden than the way what happened to Al Makam. Because Al Cantor only wins from the front, and he was held up out the back. Had a good draw, and he's held up out the back on the wide outside. He's not got a turn of foot. He never had a chance from the word go. That's more annoying than being hampered. So the last one for me.
Okay, fair enough. And one last thing, Constitution.
What about you, Ross? What about you? What's most annoying for you?
Definitely that. I agree with you completely. There's nothing worse than having a bet and in a furlong in going, well, it can't win.
No chance.
I know it can't win. It's in the wrong place. Either it's gone off scolding quick out in front, and you think, what the hell are you doing? Or, like you said, you think, oh, it's a prominent runner with a good draw, and then suddenly held up last off a slow pace, and you think, what on earth's going on here? Yeah, there's nothing worse than after a furlong going, I wouldn't have this bet now at 10 times the odds.
Exactly, and you've done all the work, and you've tried everything, and you've done all the research. You've taken hours over it, and what you think is going to happen, the opposite happens. You tear up your ticket after a second, and it's just really, and that's the most annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing, Constitution Hill probably going to punch us down next week, although you'd never quite know with these things. There's a world where James Bowen gets on board, he absolutely dots up, and Nico gets pelters, and there's a world where Constitution Hill gets beat, and suddenly maybe we shouldn't be criticising the jockey after all. There's obviously a lot of worlds. This is racing, like I said. There's a lot of opinions going on. Thoughts very quickly on him next week?
Well, I've been outspoken critic of Constitution Hill and maybe him not being the horse that he was. But if I can have one wish for this week, it's that he does come out and get round and run really well. No one wants to see a great champion like he is and was do what's happened in the last two races for him, and particularly last time he took a very heavy fall, didn't he? So what we want to see, a nice slick round the jumping, and him right back to something like his best. Even having been against him since he came back, I want to see him back.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, it would be a fascinating cherry on the season to then get excited about.
It's great that he's running, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we haven't seen enough of him, have we, over the last 2 or 3 years?
No, absolutely not. So, right, okay. That's next week anyway. Let's look at tomorrow, shall we? And get stuck into Sandown. We've got 7 races to get through. And we've got a Novices Handicap Hurdle to kick things off. And because of the fact that you have to sort of qualify for this race, it means that there ain't no Mullins Raiders. So, Kintzheim is 4-1 favourite. 13-2 Sorcerer. Serious Challenge is 7-1. Wolf Moon 8-1. John Barber is 8-1. Give It To Me OJ is 11s with Nardaran and HMS President. And then bigger prices at St Pancras, Mythical Moon, Fasol, We're Red and Blue, Quantock Hills and Marsha Delegre. It is a handicap hurdle with a good chunk of money on offer. Therefore, we are contractually obliged to put the JP McManus horse in as favourite. Kintzheim. It's a good name if your horse gets pipped by this one on the line, Tom, because it's a good name to shout, which is Kintzheim. But again, it's a strange race, this, isn't it? Obviously because of the fact that it has no real impact on the trainers as well, and the rest of the card does. But also, I have never seen a valuable handicap hurdle have so much Southwell novice hurdle form that dominated the proceedings.
That's exactly what I thought. Every race, every horse I looked up was running at Southwell.
Yeah.
They all ran against each other, didn't they? 4 of them there. Kintzheim, Sorcerer, Serious Challenge, and John Barber the other day in a Southwell novice hurdle, of which Kintzheim was last of the 4, wasn't he? or he, she is it a she or a he? I keep getting this one wrong.
It is a she, yeah.
Yeah. She's favourite here, and I don't understand why. Hello, doggy. I like John Barber of them, actually. I thought it was a very slowly run race, and the three that beat him, or no, the one that beat him, his stablemate Series Challenge made the running. John Barber was held up and set a lot to do. I was impressed with him the time before. I think just at the weights, he's got a very good chance. I think because Jack Hogan's on and Johnny Burke's on the other one, that maybe they think that Series Challenge is the first string. I'm not convinced about that. I think John Barber might come out on top of those four, and I think that's the form line to concentrate on personally. I'm a big fan of Give It To Me OJ. Just wondered whether he wins enough for me. He never won on the flat. He has won a couple over hurdles, but his head's a bit high for me. So I like John Barber. I think he's got every chance of coming out top of those four.
Yeah, I mean, I agree entirely. I thought this track would suit him down to the ground, the way that he finishes his races. I mean, he thought he ran into one at Ludlow as well, that no questions asked. I like him a lot as well. He's consistent, but also feels like you've got a little bit more to come as well. So 8-1.
He was good at Newbury as well, wasn't he? I was impressed with him at Newbury. I know it wasn't a brilliant race.
Yeah, and obviously they pulled out. There was a very short price favourite that people ended up coming out. But in fact, the second run. The second run's at 7:05, so we'll see how good that race was.
He absolutely thrashed him. I just like the way he went through. The race and the way he finished. As you say, I like the way he hits the line, doesn't he? And I always like horses that hit the line.
Rodders?
I don't really know what's going to win this. It's very difficult, isn't it? I don't necessarily like races where you've got 4 or 5 that all raced against each other last time, and then they're towards the head of the market next time, mainly because, of course, if the form turns out to be not any good, then you end up with them all finishing out the back. Having said that, I do probably think that was the best piece of form, certainly the best piece of last time out form. They're all lightly raced.
Well, they were all they're all in there if they hadn't already to qualify for this as well.
Yeah.
So, but I agree that makes it difficult because then even if you watch the race back, you're thinking, well, you know that horse made ground and that was probably unsuited by the race. But they were all probably there to say, look, we know we're going to see each other at Sandown. Today's just a bonus.
And it was run like that. Like Tom said, it was very slowly run. The leader made all, didn't he? Serious Challenge. I thought that, and the other piece of form that I liked was actually We're Red and Blue, who finished 8th in the Imperial Cup?
Yeah.
I mean, that, in the context of this race, was, I thought, pretty good. However, I've had a little bit, maybe a silly throwaway bet, Ross. It's the sort of bet that you like, just a little each way on something that you think that everyone thinks got no chance.
Yeah, okay. What is it?
Marsh Deligri, the complete outsider. He's only 4. He finished second behind Nice has in the finale. All right, Nice has won that as he liked, and the rest of them might not have been any good. But he's running off 1:19, very lightly raced. Disappointing twice since, but maybe he might bounce back, I thought. And Snowden and Sheehan had a winner today, didn't they? Was it at Perth? It was one of the jumps tracks, Chepstow. Yeah, Chepstow.
And they also, of course, won the EBF final as well here, didn't they?
They did, yeah. So I think that Marsh Deligri could run well.
Okay,
big price.
There you go. Marshall Legri is a big price. What do we got? Marshall Legri, 33-1 outsider with most bookies. Any opinions on the chat? Let's have a look. Wolf Moon could be a big improver, says Jim, and Tom Leach says half the field could improve. To be fair,
yep.
Both of you are right. Right, let's move on then to Sandown's 150. Novices Handicap Chase here. Classic Anthem is 7-2. Risking the Ground 4-1. Ide 9-2. Insurrection 5-1. Bad 8-1. Pickrock 11s. Marn's Glory 12s with Mark of Gold. And an Inedit Star is the other one in here at a bigger price. But really open stuff here. Sort of a mini version of the race that was here and is now back at Cheltenham. So, the 2.5 mile Novices Handicap Chase sort of fields have been pretty good. Colwell Potter, obviously, a very impressive winner over at Cheltenham. There's a bit of that form, in particular being represented by Insurrection. But you've got a proper course horse in Classic Anthem. You've got Skelton's Risking the Ground, who's been winning really well. And and then you've got a couple of Ben Pauling horses, and I know that we both agree on one that's a bit overpriced.
Yeah, high five. Pick Rock.
Yeah, Pick Rock.
Loves the
course. It hasn't run yet, so we might have to take that high five back. But
loves the course, don't he? He's had 2 runs there, both over hurdles. One at this meeting last year. I think he was second to 17 on both occasions, wasn't he? Big field handicaps. Loves Sandown and ran well in January and February. Once at Exeter, once at Newbury, both over fences. He went off, I think. He was quite a short price for that race that Caldwell Potter won at Cheltenham. He was among the favourites for that, Pick Rock. He was no match for Caldwell Potter, of course, but that's a Grade 1 horse, and that was probably a much stronger race than this, I would have thought. And then last time out, he was a bit disappointing, wasn't he, at Ayr? But again, that was won by Masaccio. Might not have been a bad race. Pieces on for the first time. I can see Pick Rock running really well here, Ross.
Yeah, I agree. Keelan Wood's back in the saddle, who rode him Sandown last year, went second in those 2 handicap hurdles. He got beat by Ike Sport, who I think's got a chance later on. Yeah, it's just it's a proper, again, it's horses for courses, good ground, Sandown.
Yeah, spring,
cheap pieces
form.
back on. Keelan Wood's back in the saddle. Yeah, I thought he
like
had a bit of a
double figure price.
Yeah, I thought he had a squeak. Did Pick Rock? What about you, Mr. Segal?
Yeah, he had no chance at Cheltenham, Rodders, because I backed him that day. That wasn't the reason he had no chance, but he was one of the Mr. Break horses.
Right.
He was last. He was last after 10 yards, and he, as a horse that likes to race up with a pace, that was a throw-out run. Last time's run, you just got to take that with a pinch of salt, haven't you? Because he's miles better than that. But yeah, I could see him coming back definitely. But I thought you could make a case for everything. I really did. I thought this was quite a hard race. I quite like Maharm's Glory a little bit for Dylan. Yeah, not one we normally see with jumpers, but I thought he was quite a good hurdler in his youth for various trainers, Patrick Neville and then Dr. Newland, and he won a nice race at Kempton by a long way one day, and I was sort of following him, but he's a bit of a nutter that has to go off in front, and if he gets into a rhythm round Sandown, that can be the best place to be, but it's a hard race, this. You can make a case for all of them. Loves the track, risking the ground's in great form. We've seen that twice. Ides was second in that Mustachio race, wasn't he? With Pick Rock pulled up, so you got to give him a chance. Insurrection is better than he showed last time. Might be a little bit too high in the weights, but he's very solid. Marker Gold wins lots of races, and Do It Star or whatever it's called was third in the Red Run, wasn't he? And Sam Bree's already come out and won and given that form a boost. So I could make a case for all of them. I won't be having a bet, but if you ask me which one I think is going to win, it might be Ide.
Okay, so I's 9-2. Mine's Glory's overpriced, perhaps for Tom. Pick Rock's overpriced for myself. Rodders. What else have we got? Ide each way for Tom Leach. And also, Pick Rock can't jump a twig, says Terrific Lad. But cheap pieces, good ground, and back to Sandown. It is amazing, isn't it? Some horses who can't jump elsewhere, they go back to their favourite track and they go, oh yeah, I like it here, this is all right.
Yeah, you see, well, Cheltenham this year was an absolute prime example, wasn't it? It was one after the other. Marine Nationale, shown nothing all year, suddenly back to Cheltenham, back to best form. Bob Ollinger, time and time again, beaten, suddenly looks like a world beater. And you see it time and time again, horses for courses. There's a saying for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, on to the 225 then, the Oaksy Chase, Grade 2 here. About 2 miles, 6.5 furlongs, and quite the lineup. Gaelic Warriors 5-4, Pic D'Oy's 11-4, Gentleman de Me 5-1, Le Patron, Boomborn, and a Hitman of 16s, Appreciate It 20s, Classic Getaway is 25-1, and Garlaw's the outsider of the bunch. And obviously this race, the Menorah Challenge Trophy, used to be. He was, I think he won 3 on the bounce, didn't he, for the Hobbs team? And I think it's fair to say that this is a slightly classier renewal than we've had in quite the years. Gaelic Warrior is 5-4 then after dotting up at Aintree, and is now rated 170 as a 7-year-old. Paul Townend back in the saddle. Connections of Pic D'Oy must have thought, thanks ever so much. We should be 5-4 for this race. And then you throw in, course horses, as you said, Le Patron and Gentleman de Me, who's a name that you were probably hoping you'd never have to talk about again, Tom. A horse who broke your heart and your wallets at Aintree. But yeah, let's talk about Gaelic Warrior then. Which one's going to turn up, and can we even answer that question?
Well, Rodders is the man for this. Rodders was the man that backed Gaelic Warrior at Aintree last time, inspired selection, considering he'd hardly raised a leg. But he's the type of horse you want to be on at big prices. I'm not sure I want to be on him at 5-4. You know, I think he was. I don't know what price G-Rod got, but it was nearly double figures at one stage, and he was backed into 11-4. I'm not sure. I don't know what you're going to get from him. I mean, he's by far the best horse in the race. He's miles better than these, and if he's at his best and doesn't do throw a wobbly, he's going to win. And I think Sandown. I think he'll love Sandown. I really do. Going right-handed, the ground's really well watered. Before anyone thinks it's going to be fast ground, it's definitely not quick ground. So I think conditions are perfect for him. I think he's miles the best. Would I back him at 5-4? No, because I don't back horses at 5-4. But I think he's going to win. I do. He's just not a horse that I can take to my heart because he's so inconsistent. Put it like that.
Yeah, and again, I think the only thing is that with horses like this, it's easy to get into a bit of an obsessional state with trying to figure out, but they're inconsistent. But surely there's a pattern. Surely there's a reason. Surely there's maybe it's 30 days off the track rather than 90 days. Maybe it's, right-handed. Maybe it's good ground. Maybe it's soft ground. But, I mean, to be fair to Gaelic Warrior, he never, even when he runs a bad race, he runs bad races in good races. He never, he's been at a fairly high level for quite a few years now.
Yeah, he's just either very good or just good, isn't he? And last time at Aintree, he was very good, wasn't he? Funny, because Tom has basically said exactly the same that I said to someone in the office earlier, which was, when he was last time out at Aintree, I just felt he was the best horse in the race and he was a big price. Now he's the best horse in the race and he's 5-4. Yeah. And he doesn't always show his very best, does he? As I say, he's very good or good, and then good might not be good enough here, mightn't it?
I mean, the only problem is that it's such an odd bunch of rivals. I mean, the form, like you were saying about the first race in terms of trying to judge a race when you've got four horses at the same race. I mean, you're looking for any overlapping form lines here to work out. I mean, it's all kind of all over the place.
It is, yeah. And well, like you say, if Gaelic Warrior turns up and is in his best form, he's just far better than anything else. But it's a guess, and 5-4 you don't want to guess, but you don't mind a big price like he was early on last time at Aintree. Like Tom says, I actually just think he'll probably win, but I wouldn't back him at such a short price because of his record. I know we like one, don't we?
Yeah, let's go again. Yeah,
so,
this is why you put the jumper on, because it's similar for the silks. And again, let's specify. I personally don't. I'm not saying, oh God, this horse will win.
Go on, give us the case this time. You go first.
Well, I think Garlaw is going to run a big race here. And again, it's conditions, isn't it? It's conditions. It's horses for courses. It's horses for conditions. His record on good or faster is first, second, first, fell when might well have won, second, first, including in this race last year. This is a much better contest than that was. But we know he likes the track. We know he likes the ground. He's got the blinkers on. And we've talked about, Snowden and Shearer as well. He's going to be prominent. He's going to jump round and he's going to run his race under these conditions, and he might hold on to a place at 40 or 50 to 1.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm not saying he's going to win, not by a long chalk, but he's a massive price for a horse of his ability. It was only back in November when he finished second in the Paddy Power Gold Cup behind Il Ridotto. I know he's been a couple of absolutely stinkers, hasn't he, since completely.
But they were all on ground with soft. I know Tom said it's not going to be good to firmness. It's not going to be absolutely rattling fast tomorrow. It's not going to be Newton Abbott in the summer or whatever. But it's going to be right for him at least. And
his price right, isn't it? The price is right.
Absolutely, thank you.
When you said G-Rod had the right colours on, I thought, here we go, they're going to find the same one as me. And then you said Garlaw, and I went, phew, thank God for that. I didn't say appreciate it, because I thought appreciate it was the one that you were going to say, because he was really impressive 2 starts ago. I know he's 11, but he likes good ground. He's a former Cheltenham Festival winner. Sean O'Keefe always rides him, so he was in. He won a Grade 2 by 5 lengths, and he just got brought down in the National when he probably wasn't going to stay. Probably would have finished 7th, if truth be told, or 6th. He'd have been one of the first 7 home, surely. He was trained by Willie Mullins at the end of the day. But I thought 20 to 1 about him was quite big. He's a classy horse, that.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, look, we tell you about he's the best horse in the race, Gaelic Warrior, but we've also, Gentleman de May is also a Grade 1 winner who rattled home from God knows where last time out, as we well know. But he's also a proper spring horse. He's also a bit, I know the way you're thinking, Tom, in the sense of you could look at his winter runs and think, just ignore them completely. So he's off the back of a win. He's a Grade 1 winner. He's trained by Mullins. He loves spring ground, and he's 5-1. I'd much rather back him at 5-1 than Gaelic Warrior at 5-4, even if Gaelic Warrior dots up.
Yeah. Well, I'm exactly the same, but I'm with Appreciate It. I just think the ground's right. He's fresher than most. He might be 11, but he's a Supreme Novice Hurdle winner by 25 lengths or something, wasn't he? If I'm not getting the wrong one. And he's just a very, very good horse on his day. And I don't know. I thought 20-1 was too big, considering he's better than most of those, isn't he? That are shorter price than him, and he's coming to only 2 runs ago. He won a Grade 2 by miles with Blood Destiny and horses that he wasn't supposed to beat well behind.
Yeah. Like I said, he ran to 160. If Gaelic Warrior, if the 170 Gaelic Warrior turns up, he wins this. But it's basically a toss of a coin whether the 170 or the 150 Gaelic Warrior turns up, isn't it?
Yeah, either wins or gets sailed off.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that bad. What do we make of Pic D'Orhy? Because I just don't think he's very good, but he keeps winning races, don't he? One after the other, one. Grade 1s here and there. I mean, every time he runs, I see him at a fairly short price. I'm like, Pic D'Orhy, got to be taking it. And then he goes and wins.
Well, I mean, we're talking about a horse. He's a proper Ascot horse, isn't he? He's proper right-handed, good ground. I mean, to be fair, right-handed, good ground this trip. Like I said, they'd be pretty livid because if it wasn't for the Mullins challenge, he'd be odds on, and there'd be 4 runners in here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like him, but every time I say that, he wins. So.
I don't like him.
He's a very good jumper, though, isn't he, Rodders? That's the key to him.
Yeah.
It's the key. He gets those small field races and he jumps them silly, doesn't he? And everyone else is making mistakes in the back. It could happen again here.
Yeah, he's a classic Nichols Cobden. He is your Coleman Potter. He is your stage star. He's your out in front, sailing over every fence. So all right, okay. So that's the Oaksy Chase onto the Select Hurdle where we just have the 6 of them. But Kitspool, surely people are doubling him up a little bit with Kind Time in the opener. But he's 13-8 favourite here. Lucky Place 5-2. Take No Chances 11-2. Blue King Doru 13-2. Salva 8-1 and Gwenny May Boy 16-1 again. Plenty of different form lines here. You've got the Aintree Grade 1 with Kitspool. You've got the Stayers Hurdle, of course, with Lucky Place. You've got arguably better form, but over a shorter trip with Take No Chances. You've got Blue King Doru again, who's got his conditions. Salva, who still trying to work out his conditions, I guess. In theory, he should be a non-runner. They keep pulling him out on faster ground. And then Gwenny May Boy, who was half this price for a Grade 1 last time out at Aintree, and he's 16-1 for the informed Skelton team. So, but the favourite here, Kitspool, is, as Tom said, at Aintree. He's the one who could blow the race apart. He didn't on that occasion. He still looked like he had plenty to learn. And it was a bit of an Aintree race. The form from the previous year came back and repeated itself. But this is a much more winnable race. I still have there's still a bit of a Salvatore Mundi about him for me. That I know he's a good horse, but he's just not quite there yet. But the hood might make a difference because it's worked for Mullins so far this season.
Well, yeah, it's worked well for Mullins, hasn't it, so far this season? And he is only 6 runs, I think, hasn't he? So he's by far the most likely raced horse in the race. And he's already, I think, the joint highest on BHA ratings. So, if you've got a horse there that's already the joint top rated and he's the most likely raced, you would suggest there's a lot more to come from him. And as a result, I think he's also getting £2, isn't he, from Lucky Place, who is the other horse who shares the top rated tag with him on BHA figures anyway. So it's all there, isn't it? Mullins, you could definitely see him winning this easily, but like you've already said, you could make cases for quite a few others. I thought Salva, if he goes on the ground, had a chance. He was a big eye catcher when he was 4th at Newbury early in the season. Was it Jerry Fielder? I think he was running off a big weight and he stayed on really strong. Looked like he would relish this trip.
And he wouldn't have been beaten far by Lucky Place if he'd have stood up at Cheltenham as well. So
I've lost count of how many times people have told me this horse is a soft ground horse, and then suddenly it comes, decent ground, and they win. Gaelic Warrior probably being the latest example of them at Aintree last time. A few people straight afterwards said to me, "How could you possibly tip Gaelic Warrior on that ground?" And as Willie Mullins have been saying all season, this horse must have soft ground, and you just see it time and time again. You get these ideas about horses; they need this certain type of ground, then suddenly they turn up and they don't need that sort of ground.
Especially, it's hard sometimes because I think if a horse as well, a lot of the time. Obviously, you can go off their action, you can go off the pedigree, you can go off the jockey tells you about how they felt on the ground. But I think most of the time, those decisions are made on if the horse wins, whatever it wins on first time out almost, they think, oh, well, he bolted up a heavy ground the first time we saw him, so in our head, he's a heavy ground horse.
Yeah, possibly. And training, I think
isn't the point, boys, that there just isn't fast ground anymore? Yeah. The point is, in the old days, when they used to run on good to firm and firm ground, you could say a horse didn't like over jumps. It's never fast. Yeah. It's never fast. Apart from at Newton Abbot occasionally, but at the big meetings, it's never fast. So you're saying, can Gaelic Warrior go on good or slightly slower than good ground? Well, all horses go on slightly slower than good ground. So they might be better on heavy ground, but all horses go on that. So I think this ground is overplayed now. I really do. In the old days, I got it. These days, on heavy ground, you make your case for horses that will slob through the mud. When it gets like this, you'd be disappointed if your horse was beaten because of the ground. Well, and even on heavy ground as well, it's half the time it's not, oh, this horse loves heavy ground. It's this horse hates it less than everyone else, which is a very different proposition. But you were with Kitzbühel at Aintree. Did the way he runs? Basically, what's your opinion on him post Aintree? He pulled too hard. What's the stats? You guys are stats. What's the stats on the hood? How many winners has he had with the hood, old Willie Mullins, this year?
I tell you what, like you make a you talk about the race, and I'll get the stats out.
I'll change the title of his subject and ask Rodders if he remembers watching Ski Sunday from Kitzbühel in his youth, and Harty Varreiter and Franz Klammer going down the Hahnenkamm. Do you remember that?
I don't, unfortunately, no, but it sounds thrilling, that's for sure.
Ski Sunday. I used to like Ski Sunday when they went down when they were.
What was he? Didn't you were tipping a 2-year-old last year or the year before as well? He was a famous cyclist. You just tip horses who were named after. It's like working. It's like being on Trans World Sport with you, Tom. I tell you, which admittedly was incredible. Let's not go down, but Football Italia followed by Trans World Sport. They don't make Saturday mornings like that.
And then me on the morning line, Ross. You forgot that.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. That's when I went out for a walk. Anyway, tell me. Again, I'm getting the stats up. You tell me what your current opinion of the hurdle is before I give you the hood stats.
I was impressed with him the 2 times before. I didn't think the staying hurdlers are very good, and I still don't think the staying hurdlers are very good. So I was prepared to take a chance that he was much better than them last time. He's only a 5-year-old though, and it just pulled too hard last time. Listen, he's probably going to end up being a lot better than these, but he's got to do things right because he didn't do them last time. And would I back him at 13-8? Probably not. But the hood's on this time, and I've cued you in for the hood stats.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you want? Do you want back to 2013 or do you want more recent?
Just generally, what's he like with the hood? Do they win a lot?
Generally, Mullins is 218 runners, 40 winners, so 18% strike rate. You'd have lost £7, but more importantly, actual versus expected is 0.69, which is so the market expects them to run a lot better than they actually do. This year, Kopek de Board obviously is the most notable example, but he's had 2 more in 2025. One Adela Icon at Punchestown, Cali de la Barre at Naas. He has got. I say a lot of these stats. To be fair, a lot of the Mullins stats you can kind of last 5 years seems to be a bit different because he seems to have really perfected a few things and when to use them. But it's certainly not. It's not fantastic. It's not an absolute guaranteed improver by any stretch.
No, well, as you well know, I don't like them because it's an admission that your horse pulls. Now, it might do the trick, mightn't it? And it might stop them pulling, and therefore they put in improved form. But that's not a given. There's a lot of horses that don't stop pulling; they just pull, whether they got a hood on, blinkers, whatever. If you put a paper bag over their head, they'd still pull. So I don't know what I'm going to get from him. I prefer Lucky Place just because I think Lucky Place is a solid horse. He's been kept back. since Cheltenham, I think. And I just think he's just going to run his race and he's going to be solid. Kitzbühel might be way too good for him, but I prefer to back at the prices. I prefer to back Lucky Place, but it's not a race. I won't be backing a bet, if truth be told.
I do think Take No Chance has got a chance though. I mean, she keeps running. I mean, I know she beat Cargese over 2 miles, but obviously, I mean, that form looks really good now. But she keeps running like she wants this trip, and she's, the two races that she's running at Cheltenham Aintree are much better than the races that everyone else has got. If the 3 milers aren't any good, we know how good. Yeah. We know how good Lossiemouth is.
Yeah, beaten 11 lengths, wasn't she, by Lossiemouth last time? So it wasn't a bad run.
It wasn't a bad run.
Very tough. Very tough.
She just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, it could run well. Yeah. I think Kitzbühel will win, but nothing would surprise me in this race. A bit like Tom, I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Have we got any strong opinions on the chat before we move on? Give us the Ski Sunday theme tune, lad, says Tommy Devine. Before we move on, very quickly, on 3, 1, 2, 3. No, just me.
Konrad Bartelski, do you remember him?
Right, on to the Celebration Chase then. 2 mile, grade 1. John Bob, 4-7. Energamy, 9-2. Ilite Tomp, 6-1. Edwardstone, 14. Unexpected Party, 20 with Master Chewy. And Harper's Brook, bless him. Either blasting off or plugging round to pick up some prize money. But here we are again. It's John Bond time. Is he the best horse in training? Does he hate Cheltenham? Does it matter who's on his back? Does he just beat bad horses in Grade 1 races? Is the division just disappointing in general? All those questions we've asked and answered a million times before. However, Tom Segal, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. It is, of course, my jumps horse to follow for the 2024-2025 season. Is finally running. Welcome back, Ilite Tom.
Well done, Ross.
When we did the videos at the start of the season, I was so excited about Ilite Tom taking in all these races this year, and he's left me till the last day to see him running. Fair play to you.
Well, here we go. Is he going to? I'll ask you. What do you think is going to happen with Ilite Tom today, Ross? Your horse to follow for the season.
Look, he goes really, really well fresh. I think he never runs a bad race in Grade 1. I actually think he's a better horse than Gaelic Warrior, for example. I think he's a better horse than an Ergemine. And I think he'll give John Bont a right old race. Danny Mullins gets on really well with him. And there's no way in hell that they would be risking him in this race if he wasn't ready to go. I think he's really exciting. And he's only 7 as well. I mean, he's going to be probably my horse to follow for next jump season as well. Why not?
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. He was a little bit surprising, wasn't he, over fences? Because he's only a little thing.
Yeah.
You sort of weren't expecting him to be much after his novice. I mean, he was a good novice hurdler, a very good novice hurdler. Won a Grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival, didn't he? And might have won at Punchestown as well, if I remember. I can't remember, but he was a top novice hurdler. But I didn't really expect him to do as well in novice chases as he did. But he beat Gaelic Warrior, didn't he? Pointless at Punchestown. And if he's back to that form, then definitely he's got a chance. Sandown, jumping, he's not the best jumper, and Sandown can be tricky, but I give him a shot. I give Energumene a shot because I think the ground will suit him. If you go back to the Ascot form, he wasn't far behind John Bont. You throw out the Cheltenham run that obviously didn't go to plan, but you're sort of banking on John Bont having had enough for the season, and that's not the type of horse he usually is. Do you know what I mean? You're sort of banking on him having had too hard a race at Aintree, and I do think he had a hard race at Aintree. I really do. I thought he looked tired after the last. So there's a chance. There's a chance he won't be at his best. The only thing he'll say is he's going to be out front, isn't he? He's going to make the running, and he's going to get them all at it, and they're going to have to come past him. If he jumps well, if he jumps as well as he can, and Mark Walsh is very good at getting horses to jump, I think he wins. If he makes mistakes, he'll get beat. But for me, it's all about John Bont. I hope he wins. I really do. I mean, I think he's a great horse, isn't he? He's a fun horse. That's what I like about him. And what I most like about him is how he runs all the time. And everyone has a go at Nicky Henderson all the time. And, and the Constitution Hill's going to Punchestown. He's been to, he might have fallen, but he's been to Cheltenham twice this season. He's been to Kent. He's run loads of times. Run much more than Lossymouth and State Man. Do you know what I mean? And so we always have a go at the Henderson because of how he's keen. He won't run horses if the conditions are slightly wrong. But when he gets a horse like John Bond, he's run non-stop. He's a great horse. I love watching John Bond run. I hope he wins because he deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, yeah, you see him 6 times a season in Grade 1s, pretty much guaranteed. Bish bash bosh. He's
once a month.
Yeah,
nearly once a month you see him, don't you?
Yeah,
perfect.
Absolutely. It's perfect.
What a great horse.
Yeah,
what a great horse.
Set your watch by him, Graeme Rodway. Question is, well, would you back him at 4 to 7? I know the answer is going to be no, pretty much. But is there an angle in for you?
I find it hard to believe he's going to get beaten because he's just so good, isn't he? His record is astounding, really. To never have finished out the first 2, has he? I don't think. He's only time he's been beaten is around Cheltenham. He's absolutely unbeatable elsewhere, including here.
So you're suggesting we back into place?
But I don't know. Sometimes with these horses, the day you think that they definitely can't get beat is the day that they do end up getting beaten. If you know what I mean.
Yep.
Almost too obvious, and that is the only worry, I think, if you're taking him on. I would agree with you. If there's going to be a horse that beats him, probably be your horse to follow for the season, Il Était Tomp, and then it'll be a great pick, wouldn't it? Because he would have gone through the season unbeaten.
Yeah, you'd be, plus £6, 100% strike.
We'll all hail you and say, what a pick that was, Ross.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't really see it happening. And like Tom, I just hope John Bond wins again, and we get to hail him as the great horse that he is. Yeah. The fact that he hasn't won a champion chase shouldn't take away from his legacy. I mean, he's won so many other great ones.
Well, in weird ways, they're quite similar because Il Était Tomp also hates Cheltenham.
Yeah.
So they both get beat at Cheltenham. So I'm hoping they do have a bit of a ding dong here because Il Était Tomp. I also want to see a proper challenger for next year as well because Il Était Tomp, I said he's 7 years old. I know he's been running since a juvenile, but he's still got a couple of years in him.
But if it does turn into a battle, John Bond's a real old tough nut to crack, isn't he, as well?
Yeah,
I mean, he always puts his head down and runs right to the line. Even when he got beaten at Cheltenham, he was finishing for second, wasn't he? So it could be a great race. It probably won't be. John Bond will probably win. But again, it's not a betting race for me.
No. Okay, fair enough. Right, the 410 at Sandown is, of course, the Bet365 Gold Cup. 98 grand on the table. And for the winner, of course, there is a possibility that Willie Mullins takes home every penny of prize money here, pretty much. But it's High Class Hero at 4 to 1, who heads it for Willie Mullins. Dancing City at 6 to 1 for Willie Mullins. Grangeclaw West at 7 to 1 for Willie Mullins. Manila Kakuna at 7 to 1 for Willie Mullins. Resplendent Grey at 7 to 1 for the very much in form Ollie Murphy. And then it's 14 to 1 bar those. So, yeah. 4 of the top 5 in the weights are 4 of the top 5 in the betting here at Graeme Rodway. Again, do we just put them all in combination exotics and go home, or is there a standout one of the Mullins ones for you?
I don't know.
It's a bit of a brain-pickling race, isn't it?
I don't like it when you get all these Mullins horses because I'm not even sure that they know which one is the best. And if
they don't mind which one's the best, do they?
No, and if they don't know, what chance have we got sitting here?
Yeah.
They see these horses every day. I just really hope that it's not like a Mullins 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. Like it has been.
Well, it's going to be Rodders.
Probably will be.
Well, like I said, unless you have a 10p combination TriCast and it pays £3 grand.
Well, I suppose then I wouldn't hate it. Maybe that's just what I should do. Then I'd love it.
Yeah.
I won't have to moan then, will I? I can just go to the betting shop, pick up my money, and go.
I mean, you can moan, but you get paid as well.
This? Yeah. So. I don't know which one of these Mullins ones is going to win, but like Tom says, it wouldn't be. It's not going to surprise anyone if he has the winner and the second and the third and the rest of them.
Who do you think's best suited to 3.5 miles around Sandown on good ground?
Well, we know Manila Kakuna likes it, don't we? Because he did it last year. He's unbeaten at the track in 1, isn't he? Which is one of our theories that we ran out last time, wasn't it? The record wasn't that bad, was it? 1 from 1 at the track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just because he's got that course form, I would probably take him in the Mullins ones. I have liked Jolie Smoke for ages for this race, and I'm still going to back him, even though he's £15 wrong at the weights, because I do think he's the most unexposed horse in the race. we don't know how good he is. He's run 4 times over fences. He's won twice, both at the track. He travelled like a really good horse last time at the track. I thought did only just enough. They were coming back at him towards the end. Java Point and Goshen he beat him a neck, but he was far better than that. Problem is, of course, as I just said, I mean, Mullins has keeping him £15 out of the weight. So not only has he got to be £15 ahead of his mark, he's got to be more than £15 ahead of his mark.
It's a real
thing
challenge.
I would say is that it's factored into the price, isn't it? I think that if Ho Jolly Smoke was running off his real mark, I think he'd be half the price that he is now. I think he'd be at least 7, if not shorter.
Well, it's just that horse of people who say, this horse has got a stone in hand, and you go, well. We'll find out.
Well done, Einstein Rodders. Yeah, if he was £15 lower in the weight, higher in the weight, yeah, he would have a better chance.
Yeah. If this horse had a more favourable weight to carry, I think I would be sure in the betting. No, but I mean it's a fair point, isn't it? Like you do get, do you want to back him 6 to 1?
Well, I will take into account the fact that he's had £15 wrong. I mean. Yeah. You can get into weights and measures and all that, and how much it means to carry £15 more. And
but especially in these races, you saw it at Aintree, you saw it at weights and measures is one thing, but getting round, not getting carried out, not getting brought down. There's there's loads of, there's so much other stuff that goes into it.
Don't start with getting carried out. You've got me on listening to them lad. You got me an Alma can. Now you're having a go at me getting carried out.
What was it? Which one's good? Because I quite like Spanish Harlem. Did you like him at Ayr?
That's the one I backed in the Ayr Gold Scottish National.
Yeah. Look, it's he's got more letters in his name than the favourite in the first at Sandown, hasn't he? A lot of these horses, but yes, Spanish Harlem's one of those horses that I've been waiting for him to pop up. He's only 7 again. It's possible that he's still learning his trade in these big races, but he keeps catching the eye.
Yeah, he's just not a great jumper, isn't he? One day he's going to get his act together with his jumping and he's going to win a race like this, but he's got to do it. It could be tomorrow. It could easily be tomorrow. He'll like the ground. I know. He was well backed, wasn't he, in the Scottish National? So they thought he was going to run better than he is. And the thing to say about the Mullins horses is that the national winner was 33 to 1. Captain Cody wasn't the shortest price of his lot. Minella Kakuna wasn't the shortest price of his lot last year when he won the race. Do you know what I mean? Grange Clare West was 3rd in the national, probably been 2nd if he hadn't missed the last. He was 33 to 1 on the day as well. So, any of these ones could win. Any of them. What I don't want is to be held up out the back, because I think that's really hard to do in big fields at Sandown. It has been done in the past, but normally you see a horse, you take the Bradstock horse that won it by a long way. Marauder, who was just touched off a couple of years ago. Annual Invictus, who was just touched off last year. But you normally it's normally hard to come from miles back here. So that was what put me off most of the British horses, funnily enough. Your Transmissions, your Victorinos, your Resplendent Greys. I thought they were going to get too far back. And I think that's hard against Mullins horses. It's all right at Perth. It's all right at, in bad races. But when you're coming up against, proper classy horses, it's really hard to do. So I thought one of the Mullins would win it. I ended up, the point is High Class Hero is way too short, isn't he? Nothing wrong with his chance. Totally. You see why Paul Townend's chosen him, but he's never run in a handicap, and he's running 3 chases, all of which have had about 3 runners. Don't want to back him at 4 to 1 in the 20. He might have a stone in hand, but I don't think so, because it's not like he's been given, the handicap has given him a small mark, because he was placed in a Grade 1 at Punchtown last year, wasn't he, behind Dancing City? Dancing City, I think, has a very good chance, but he had a very hard fall last time. I thought he was jumping brilliantly at Aintree, and I thought he was going to win. All the way around, I thought he was going to win, and then he just stood off the ditch too far. But he did have a hard fall. Don't know what price he's going to be. John Joe O'Neill Jr. rides him. He could be, he could be anything. He could be a Nick Rocket, couldn't he? He could go from 10 to 1 to 25 to 1, or he could be 4 to 1. I have no idea what price he's going to be, so I can't back him at the current odds. Grange Clare West is the classy one and could win easily.
Well, yeah.
Don't know.
Well, because again, and you were saying, he's gonna race prominently. He did at Aintree. He was arguably, not to say the horse take out the race, but he was in the mix for a long way out. He's got the top 2 speed figures because he's running in the best races. He loves spring ground. I know it was he ran in the national, but actually this race, if you go back a few years, horses who run the week before have a really good record. And
absolutely.
I don't know.
He's got a good jump.
Well, yeah, there's a possibility that he's in to keep the weights down. There's a possibility that he's the best horse in the race, and this is a weaker race than the national, and he's the best horse out of the national in a weaker race that should suit him.
Absolutely. All week I was gonna tip him, but he was 16, 20 to 1 or whatever he was earlier in the week. Now he's 7s because I presume no one thought he was going to run. Rodders is right. Manila Kakuna, great course form. I ended up on the 2 hoods, believe it or not. I thought the 2 Mullins horses that wearing hoods might run well, just simply because O'More Park ran an amazing race at Cheltenham, went to be 3rd to Caldwell Potter, and was hit the line very strongly. Lots of good horses behind him, Nürburgring, and then he came out next time and got beat by Skelton's horse. But he was too keen the whole way round, and he was still coming back at the line, and he would have still, he was only beaten half a length. I could see him really taking off over the trip if he settles. He's in great form, loved the ground, jumps well. Just thought at 20 to 1. And the other one was the horse that actually started favourite for the Scottish National, Olympic Man. He was just too keen for Patrick Mullins. He was in front. He jumped really well. Once again, he's a bit... Before that, he'd been a dodgy jumper, but most of the time, he jumped. I thought he was really good at air, and he just was too keen. He's got the hood on this time. If he settles, Johnny Burke has... What did he ride? He rode Manila Kakuna, and he mowed Clark Kent for Willie Mullins in the Nationals recently. I think... Don't know why, but he seems to have he likes using Johnny Burke on a couple of horses. He's off Clark Kent and on Olympic Man. Is that right? Yeah. And I thought he could go well with the hood on for the first time. So I just thought I'd play Willie Mullins, but I'll play the big price ones.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I said, I'll probably more than a try because I know all the big prize ones do finish first, second, and third because play bombs. Okay, fair enough. I would read the chat, but my laptop's just died. So thank you for everyone getting involved with your selections in the chat. And I'm sure your opinions are absolutely 100% rock solid and bomb-proof. But the last race that we're going to look at is the 4:45 at Sandown, Handicap Hurdle here. 2.5 miles, mostly sunny for Dan Skelton. Could be important this. 4 to 1, Jump Allen 5 to 1, Ike Sport 11 to 2, Bunting 6 to 1, Dr. Eggman 7 to 1 with Push the Button 9 to 1, and Bigger the Rest. Final race on the card. Tom Segal, first throw of the dart to you.
I like the name Dr. Eggman. Not a great egg man myself, I have to admit. Not a great fan of eggs. But
Dr. Eggman
like
is
the name Dr. Eggman.
It's the Japanese name, Sonic the Hedgehog's nemesis, Dr. Robotnik. That's the Japanese name for Dr. Robotnik.
What, Dr. Eggman?
Dr. Eggman, yeah.
Right. Well, that's less interesting than my Kitzbühel Hahnenkamm story.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's Look, it's as we said before, we're all nerds for different things on the show, aren't we? So, what did you like in the last?
I liked Ike Sport a bit, just because he was just nil Holland at the end of the season. His horses tend to come good. He won this by a long way last year, beat your horse Pick Rock by about 6 or 7 lengths, and he would have won by 15 if he hadn't been eased down. He's a bit up in the weights and doesn't have a 7-pound claimer riding him this time, but he ran really well at Aintree last time, 5th in a quality handicap like this, probably a better handicap than this, if truth be told. And he got hampered a few times and came home fine. So, horses for courses, last year's winner, I think he's £4 higher. Ike Sport, I thought he'd run really well.
Agree entirely. I think you'll find out very shortly. I think he's my nap of the day. I think he's going to run an absolute blinder. I think if it wasn't for a Skelton and a Mullins, he should be favourite here. I thought he ran a cracker at Aintree. The headgear combination, Conor O'Farrell's ridden him a couple of times, as you said. Scorsese won today for connections as well, so handicap hurdles are going well for the yard. Horses for course. Like I said, he dotted up in this last year, and I love a horse who dotted up last year, been a bit out of form, and then come right back into it the previous run. Like I said, that Aintree form, he was, the winner made all, and he was one of the only horses to go past runners in the home straight.
Oh yeah, you can definitely see it, can't you? No doubt about it. I mean, obviously I've already made the case for Pick Rock, and he thrashed him last year in this race, and I do love a bit of course form. I did just think that maybe he might be a bit more exposed than some of these, though. He's had 20 odd runs in his career, and some of these are coming in off like 4 or 5 or 6 starts. One of them being the Mullins horse Jump Allen, who's progressed with every run on Racing Post ratings, produced a career best a couple of weeks ago at Ayr when he was beaten behind Quebecois, who I think they've always held in quite high regard, haven't they, at Nichols's. So I just wondered if there might be something a little bit too progressive in there for Ike Sport, and I thought Jumper Len might be the one, but I can definitely see the case for Ike Sport. He's almost certain to be in the 3, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Expect him each way. Okay, right. That's the Sandown card previewed then. Like I said, apologies, I can't read your naps out because my laptop has just died. But don't you worry about it. We've got naps coming up after this. All right, the final day of the 2024-25 jumps season, which means our final naps of the jump season, starting off with you, Graeme Rodway.
I think Pick Rock is a good bet there. 150, Sandown, Pick Rock.
Pick Rock is Rodders' pick. Tom?
I like Myler a lot at Haydock, for anyone who's watching Haydock on the flat, but the one hit at Sandown is John Barber in the first race for Fergal O'Brien. I thought he'd go really well.
Okay. Stuff, and yeah, I agree. I think he'll run a big race. But Ike Sport hopefully will close out the jump season with a winner in the finale tomorrow at Sandown. And that closes out the jump season for us as well. Complete switch. Like I said, the sun's going to be out. It's going to be 20 odd degrees next week. And Tom, like I said, we're going to test how annoying being on the wrong side of a draw bias is, because it's Newmarket.
Guineas. It's guineas, and they're all telling me that this field of gold is a certainty, and he's going to be drawn 1, and there's something going to be drawn on 20, and everyone's going to get in a kerfuffle, and he's going to be like his dad, Kingman, and get beat.
The job is trying to find what beats him. So that's your job, more specifically. But anyway, join us next week for Guineas Fun and Games. But before that, enjoy Sandown. See you next week.